Hey, it's July 2nd. It's been kind of a frustrating morning. Larky's kind of a little beast, but I'm surviving. Janet and I are going on a hike today. We are going to a place called Barren Peak. I haven't been there before. The description is, it says, it's a hike with great views and access to other trails. The center 3 miles of the trail are in open parks and offer excellent views of the South Cabinet Mountains. It says it's an 8-mile hike, moderate difficulty. It says Barren Peak. If ever a peak was misnamed, this one would certainly qualify. There is nothing remotely barren about Barren Peak. This heavily forested mountain is located in the southeastern portion of the Cabinet Mountains. It has an old abandoned lookout at the summit. Barren has an old abandoned lookout at the summit. And further down the ridge to the northeast, spectacular views of the higher peaks of the Cabinet Mountains wilderness, beginning with Kearney Peak, are available. En route to Barren, you will pass several other minor peaks of the Cabinets located along Highway 2. There is a wooden tower still up there that was built in 1940, but it has been abandoned since the 70s. So we will see what Barren Peak looks like today. It's cloudy, it's overcast. It's not supposed to rain, but I have rain gear just in case. I'm not sure what we're gonna encounter today. It's quite a drive from our house. It's located just outside of Libby, Montana, which is about an hour from us, probably an hour and a half from us. But I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it should be a nice hike. It'll be nice to get out. Oh, and I have nothing. Nothing to take up with me. I have finished my Alaska hat, but it is still blocking and drying. It's not quite dry yet, so I can't take that up. I have a couple other projects going, which, you know, frankly, I just don't feel like taking up with me right now. So I will give you an update on them sometime later. I am working on the Climbing Roses hat that I talked about last time for Aquila's knit-along, and I also started the Mermaid Top by Rebecca McKenzie. I have that on the needles, just barely started. I'm trying to use some of my friend Cappy's yarn for that she gave me. Let's see, what else do I have going? Really, that's about it right now. Yeah, that's about it. I have finished one small project for Nico that I will show you later on in the podcast. And I'm Victoria, and this is Victoria Knits. Hi. Well, Janet and I made it through our hike. It's July 3rd. I'm home. I'm out on the back porch. It's foggy out today and really chilly this morning. It's about 35 out, I think, maybe. Might have warmed up to that. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I am using my newest mug. I'm knitting a sweater for you. Do you want it too big or too little or too small? So I just wanted to talk about a few things that I finished. I finished my Alaska hat. It's by Camille Descateau. I'll put her name at the bottom. And I also want to mention, you know, it looks really nice on here. You can actually see the trees, right? In person, the tree, why does everything look nicer on the podcast? In person, the trees are harder to see because I use such a dark color here. And I'll put the yarn at the bottom. This is that kit I bought from Brave Dog Knits. in Columbia Falls. And this is color work, obviously. I'll stick it on, show it to you. But I did the color work. I used the color work idea that Aquila the Hun showed on her podcast, the Lefty Knitter podcast. Can you guys see that hat? It fits pretty nicely, and it feels pretty warm. Even though it's like fingering and barely fingering, it's pretty small fingering size. So Aquila was talking about how to do color work and how to keep your floats from showing through when you knit your hats or when you knit color work. I think this looks pretty good. I used her tips. I will put down at the bottom of the screen which episode of hers you need to watch to get those tips. I was not aware of those tips, but once she described them, I'm familiar with color work. I've done a lot of color work projects, and I recognized at once what she was talking about. So I used those tips on here. This comes with a nice graph for a chart for the color work, and I used her tips and did that, and I think it really worked well. So thanks, Aquila. I recommend you go check out her podcast to get those tips. Holy cow, it's chilly out here. So I wanted to say, before I show our hike yesterday, when I put in a couple of segments in it, because when you're out in the woods, and we were all alone on that hike, we didn't see another person, and there's a lot of brush around, and I'll show you, I'll also insert a picture of some bear scat, some fresh, very fresh bear scat we came across. You need to be loud enough in the woods so you don't surprise a bear. That's the worst thing you can do when you're out hiking around here, is actually surprise a bear. It's not the worst thing to actually see one, but if you come across one and surprise it, then it could react. So some people carry these large bells, huge bells on their backpack so that they jingle when they walk. But they also recommend you just make noise. That's what the forest rangers recommend. Just be noisy while you're walking. Talk loudly. Janet sometimes she carries 2 walking sticks. I only carry 1. I'm keeping an eye on Larky. I only carry 1 walking stick, but Janet carries 2, and sometimes she'll smack those together just to make a racket too. But I've inserted a couple of videos here to show you. We kind of entertained ourselves while we were taking that hike. So I'll insert the hike now, and then we'll talk about some more knitting. Say hi, Janet.
Hi, Janet.
Coming through. Hot soup. Here we are. Coming through. Hot soup.
Sit out. Oh, bear.
Yeah.
I guess feeling like we're not down here, but you never know.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, bear.
Hey, hey.
There we go. Walking down here. Yes, from here. Look, from.
Everyone you meet. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. Brown. Everybody down. So yeah, it was a really good hike. We hiked 7 miles yesterday. It was too overcast, as you can tell, to get the pictures I wanted to get. We should have been able to see the beautiful Cabinet Mountains from up there. It was the trail, as I said, was highlighted. One of the highlights was supposed to be seeing the Cabinet Mountains, but we didn't get a good look at them. But it was a very, very pretty trail, and we did not see any bears, so that's always good. We did have our plan. We talked about what our plan was going to be if we did see a bear, how we were going to try to react, and what our plan was going to be. And it's always good to be aware of that too, to have an idea, because sometimes bears will fake charge you. They will run at you and then act like they're going to charge you, but then stop short of doing that. And if you panic and release all your bear spray at them while that's happening, then you don't have any left for if they actually do come at you. So it's good to be aware of those things and have those kind of ideas in your head. I have never been charged by a bear in the woods, so yeah. I'm not sure. I'm sure there'd be a lot of cussing going on and possibly wetting of my pants. But what you hope to do is just get through it. Most of the time, they're just going to run off. If they're a black bear out in the wild, they probably want to avoid you, and that's why you make the noise. They know they can hear that somebody's coming, and they just want to leave the area. So that's really the best case scenario. All right, another thing I'm working on, speaking of Aquila, I'm working on this hat for her knit along or make along that she's doing. This is the climbing roses hat and I just looked at the pattern writer, and now I can't remember her name again. It's Heather Boyd, not a tough name. Heather Boyd, the Climbing Roses hat. I will put down at the bottom of the screen what the yarn is. I know the name of it is April Showers, but we're supposed to be using a color that signifies our birthstone. And so I picked this one with pinks and blues in it because there are pink and blue diamonds. And so that's coming along. I just want to show you guys this stuff because I figure I'm not sure when this podcast is going to go up. And hopefully I'll have these things finished by then. Or at least, mostly. And then the last thing I'm working on is, since I was doing a giveaway of Rebecca McKenzie's patterns, I decided I would start one myself. So I bought one and I started her mermaid top. I am using the yarn I got from my friend Cappy at the Yarn and Us. Isn't that pretty? So what I want to say is, yes, I've started it. I've started the top. I have it. It's bottom up. I'm not have I done a bottom-up sweater before? I've done a bottom-up cardigan, and I don't think I've ever liked them much. I don't know, but I decided I would try this one, and so this is the bottom garter stitch, and I'm just that far up, just a few inches really is all. But of course, you know me, I didn't have DK weight yarn as she calls for in her pattern, so I'm using something that is not DK. And so I'm having to adjust the pattern size for me. We'll see how this goes. You guys will I'll be a part of this. I will let you know as it progresses, if it works out. I'll tell you truthfully, I've already had to rip it back once because I knit it too big. So we'll see what happens with that. And I'm sure I'll include another hike when I talk about more knitting again. So see you soon. Okay. Hi. One more hike in this podcast. It's July 9th. It is 6:04 a.m. I'm on my way to meet Janet. We are going to the Jewel Basin area to do a hike. Hopefully we'll be hiking to Birch Lake and also to Crater Lake. Should be a 13-mile trip, 13-mile hike. And that, I know that could sound like a lot, but I think after the initial increase in altitude to get out of the parking lot, I think after that there's not a lot more of increase, not a lot more uphill. So that sounds pretty good. Vanessa and I hiked the Jewel Basin in episode 37. You can go look at that if you feel like it. I think there were 2 hikes in that one too. So I think the Jewel Basin one that Vanessa and I did is about halfway through. And the Jewel Basin is located east of Kalispell, has about 15,000 acres, including 27 lakes and 35 miles of trails. The Jewel Basin is specially designated for hiking only, with motorized vehicles and horses restricted. You're supposed to limit your party to 12. All dogs must be on leashes. And the high lakes may still carry ice and trails. The high lakes may still carry ice, and trails can be snow covered any earlier than July. So definitely, yeah, I have been up there. Kim and I have been up there in June before, and we could not get to any of the trails because of all the snow. But I'm hoping today will be good. Really looking forward to it. I have not been to these 2 lakes before, so pretty excited. So here we go. All right, we made it. That's Crater Lake behind me. Janet and I aren't sure why it was called Crater Lake. We've been walking just over 6 miles according to my little pacer, my tracker. It's been a really pretty hike though. And I brought just a couple things to show you up here. I had talked about a little thing I was making for Russell, and it was this. It's called Little Dino. Another pattern by Susan B. Anderson. I really like the spider webs. She calls this little thing spider webs. And she wanted you, the directions are to put 3 on each side, but I just put 3 on one side. I kind of got over it. I shouldn't have made the feet the same color as the little decoration there, but I did. My bad. It would have made a little more sense if those had been a different color. Super easy make, and I think Nico seemed to really like it. You know, for as much as those kids play with their stuffies, I think he liked it. So that was a hit, and it was a really easy pattern. The other thing I finished was this Climbing Roses hat by Heather Boyd. I finished that for Aquila's of a Lefty Knitter podcast for her knit along. I should put that on for you guys. I know I look like crap, but I don't care. Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice hat. It's a little slouchy. I don't always wear them slouchy. It's got a pretty pattern on the front though. But that wasn't enough for her knit along. I needed to use up some more yarn. So I decided to make these really easy mitts. And that used up almost all of the rest of the yarn. And this pattern is called, yeah, what is this pattern called? This is the Point, these are the Point Edwards mitts by FAIRLIGHT Fibers. FAIRLIGHT Fibers, super easy pattern. You knit them both the same, you know, it's just, there's no real pattern on the mitts, it's just knit, stockinette stitch. So I didn't have quite enough yarn to go as long as the pattern calls for. They want you to knit them so that they completely cover your fingers on the top. I didn't have quite enough to do that, but I still really like them. I think they're pretty and they match the hat. And now I have something to enter into Aquila's knit along. Finished object. And that yarn, as I said last time, was the Ancient Arts Fibercrafts Nettle Soft DK colorway April Showers. I had never heard of nettle yarn before. So I looked it up. It says the use of nettle fiber for clothing is nothing new. In fact, people have been using nettle fibers in this way for around 2,000 years. Anyway, there's a big long explanation about using nettle. There are 3 different types of nettle, and the good thing about them is they're more eco-friendly than growing cotton. The extracted fibers are white in color. They are fine, long, and very strong, measuring up to 50 millimeters. The fibers are hollow, which means they are one of the most insulating due to the air trapped inside. Yeah, it says nettle plants use less water than cotton and less pesticides. They also can be used for making tea, beer, rennet to make cheese, and as fodder for livestock. So I thought that was really interesting. And I will put a link below. I don't know, maybe everybody's heard of nettle yarn, but I had not. I'll put a link below to where you can go look at some and perhaps purchase some. And that reminds me, I'll put a link below to everything I talk about on my podcasts. So Janet and I are going to head back to the trailhead. We've got a ways to go. Some of it's uphill, some of it's downhill. But I will insert now pictures of the hike up. Frankly, I have been up here, you know, like I said, Jewel Basin's a very popular place to hike. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna keep the pictures really short because I already showed you a hike Janet and I took last week. But I forget how pretty this area is. Yeah, the Jewel Basin. That's why they call it the Jewel Basin, I think. It is gorgeous. Here's a map of the Jewel Basin area. And here's the route that Vanessa and I took last year. And this is the route Janet and I took. We ran into snow fairly early on. And quite early on our hike, Janet found a piece of hair, a clump of hair hanging on a bush. And she said, look, a goat must have gone by. And she pulled it off, and I'm like, okay, maybe there are some goats up here. I don't know what the big deal is. She said, no, mountain goats. she meant mountain goats had gone by, and she was collecting the hair they left behind. And I thought it was so cool, so we both started watching for these little tufts of hair all over the place. It was obvious that mountain goats had come through the area, and some of their winter coat was rubbing off on bushes and twigs and things and trees, and Janet was picking it up. It was the coolest thing, and she plans on taking it home and spinning it and using it in something. She said when she got home, she had picked up 6 grams of goat hair. Almost.
I'm getting greedy going back for all of it.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. Holy cow. And I may have spotted the culprits up on that hillside. See over there to the right, those 2 little white dots? Those are mountain goats. Right there on the right, the 2 white dots. They're quite a ways away. Pretty cool. I was so excited. I forgot all about looking at wildflowers and just kept looking for those little tufts of hair along the way. It was so exciting to find them. I can't wait until she gets enough to spin that up. That'll be fun to knit with. And these glacier lilies were everywhere. Just gorgeous. I couldn't get over the fields and fields of glacier lilies up there. They're blooming later there because it's still obviously very chilly up there. But they're lovely. And I did not know it, but Janet knew that glacier lilies provide food for wildlife. Bears, deer, elk, and bighorn sheep eat the bulbs and the green seed pods. Just look at those. Holy heck! Oh, look, yeah, here's another one. They are columbines.
Oh, yeah. We were so distracted by
Yeah.
the star.
Yeah. Very pretty. What is today? July
15th?
15th? Something like that. Janet and I are on another hike. We are up at Upper Geiger Lake. Janet hadn't been up here before, and this is just my second time to Upper Geiger. So hike number 3 on this podcast. I'm probably not going to show you a lot of it because if you're really interested, you can go look at episode 36. That's when I showed this hike before. I have brought one thing to show you up here. And it is this little monster. I showed this to Russell. I said, what do you think this is? And what did he say? I don't think he said monster, but it was close. I can't remember what he thought it was. Anyway, this is the start. This is the head of Susan B. Anderson's Waffles puppy. Waffles puppy? I don't know. It's another one by Susan B. Anderson. Kind of looks like a pig right now, doesn't it? Anyway, as usual, I am using yarn that you're not supposed to use for this. My yarn is way too big, so his head is huge. He's going to have a big body. I thought I was being smart, and I thought, well, I'll use yarn I have and, you know, use up some of the yarn I have. Well, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to go buy more of this main color yarn, probably. I don't know how mixed I want him to be. I'm okay with his ears being different colors. I'm not sure about the rest of his body, so we'll see what happens. These, of course, are where his eyes goes and his nose goes. Yeah, Russell was kind of confused by this. He was not impressed with the looks of this. So it's going to turn out a lot larger than, you know, the 9.5 inch or whatever she has on her puppy. Yeah, mine's going to be bigger. I like Susan's patterns, as you well know. And this one really appealed to me because she called it Waffle. And Waffle is what Russell's cousin Hayden called him before she could say Russell. She called him Waffle for a long time. It makes me laugh because I wonder how kids come up with that stuff. Nico calls Russell DAZE. That's his name for Russell right now, is DAZE. It is morphing into a 2-syllable something, but we have no idea how he got DAZE out of Russell. But that's what's going on right now. So I have talked Janet into showing some of her knitted stuff. So she has actually packed up a couple things to show you, and I'm going to turn it over to her. So just whenever you're comfy.
So hi, I'm Janet. I was recruited to talk to you, to bring this sweater that I made when I was 200 pounds It looks like it was made by Omar, the tent maker, but no, I made it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed making it. It was my first attempt at color work. It's the ELDFELL pullover by Knit Picks. I used their Wonder Fluff, which they recommended. The pattern is by BRYNER PUPILLO. Sorry, Bridget, if I mutilated your name. It was worked in the round, starting from the bottom up. I'm pretty proud of it, even though I don't wear it anymore. Maybe this winter.
I'd still wear it if I was you. That's a gorgeous sweater. So what's the yarn?
It's Wonder Fluff.
Wonder Fluff, you just said that, didn't you? Nice.
Yeah. And I brought 2 socks on my homemade.
I need that card.
Oh, I need the card.
Okay, gotcha. Step back, Victoria.
The pattern is Rose City Rollers. I did a little improvisation on the purple one. I had heard that these little half socks don't stay on your feet too easily sometimes, so I put some ribbing on the bottom. Didn't really need it. This pair stays on just as well, doesn't have the ribbing. The yarn is from Big Sky Yarn Company. This is the colorway Bluegill. This is Rad Rhino. She has some interesting names for her yarn. The pattern is Rose City Rollers, easy to follow for first-time sock knitters. Mara Catherine BRYNER is the author of that pattern. She uses a Kitchener graft for the toes. I did the Kitchener on the Rad Rhino one. Not fond of it, so I did a flower toe on the second pair. And this pair I used what she recommended, which is 2.25 millimeter needles. Kind of loose and floppy, so I tried 2.0s for the green ones. These are cooler. When you use a tighter needle, it does get warmer, so I think I will go back to the 2.2. That's it.
What's the flower toe? Where'd that come from? Pattern. I haven't heard of that before. I like the look of it too.
I don't know the name.
Okay.
It was a book that was translated into English from some other language, and it doesn't always translate well. So you have to wing it on some of it.
That's interesting.
That's it.
I love it. That's great. So you notice that Janet said that was her first color work knitted item. I think it's gorgeous. I think she did a great job. That sweater is super soft. That yarn was just luscious. So if you've never done color work, I really think you ought to give it a go. And now I'm just going to show you the highlights of our hike, because as I said, you can check out episode 36 if you really want to look at it more. Here we are at Lower Geiger. That was just 2 miles up. Very pretty little lake. This was a new hike for Janet. She hadn't been here before. I've been to Lower Geiger. This is the 3rd time I've been to Lower Geiger. Leaving Lower Geiger, and we're looking over it here, and we're on our way to Upper Geiger, and now here we are at Upper Geiger Lake. Very pretty. You can see we got into some snow here. It's really lovely.
Oh, yeah, there's another jump way off. I think, do they staff this?
That I do not know. Saying goodbye to Upper Geiger Lake, and we are on our way to Lost Buck Pass. That's overlooking Upper Geiger Lake right there. Gorgeous views from up there. Really, really pretty. It makes it quite a long hike, but it was so worth it. This hike ended up being about 10.5 miles. It took us quite a while. And yeah, that's the trail right there. And if you go just a little bit further after you hit Lost Buck Pass, you can see WANLESS Lake, which is right there. Definitely worth the view and the extra hike. Hi, it's July 18th, and I thought I would try to get this podcast wrapped up. It's going to be long enough as it is, so I thought I'd try to keep this part as short and sweet as possible. So I wanted to show the July picture from the Guernsey calendar from Jan Swarbrick, my friend Jan of Jan's Crafty Crochet. This is Saline Bay, also known as Grand Rock, and it's just north of the popular Cobo Bay. This is another perfect location to watch Guernsey's amazing sunsets. Grand Rock is a beautiful beach with a large expanse of soft white sand. At low tide, there is a bit of a walk if you fancy a paddle or a swim. However, the exposed wet sand makes for expert level sandcastles. At high tide, there is usually ample sand on show, making this a great beach choice whatever the tide. However, it's the wind direction that can make time on Grand Rock feel like an endurance test. The beach faces southwest, so if the wind is coming from the east, then Grand Rocks will be lovely. But when the wind is coming from the southwest, straight across the Atlantic, it will be very windy. And I'll put the link to at the bottom of the website that I got that info from. Really pretty picture. So I do have some works in progress, but I'm not going to show them right now. They're not far enough along. I've already showed you one of them. So I'll save them for the next podcast. And have you been watching Patty of 4 Boys and an NL Girl podcast? She's doing a mystery stitch along. It will run from August 1st to September 15th, 2020. There will be 3 patterns to stitch. And you can learn all about it on her YouTube video, 4 Boys and an NL Girl Summer 2020 Vlog 12. I'll link to that below, just like I'll link to everything else. I've decided to join along with this stitch along. It's a counted cross stitch, I believe. I don't think I've ever done counted cross stitch. So I went and bought all my supplies yesterday, and I hope I think I did okay. I think I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video about how to do this though before I get started. So it starts in 2 weeks. I've got 2 weeks, so that's not bad. I've got some time. Yeah, I went into town, and here in Montana, at least in our county, they have instigated or started up again the mandatory mask wearing right now. And so here I was, I'm wearing a mask that my friend Janet made for me. Yes, she's not just a knitter, she also sews. She made one for Kim and one for me, and so I'm wearing mine here. And I had to stop at this health food store, Withy's, and I thought this was a really nice sign they had out front. I really like that a lot. So we've had 2 birthdays recently. My daughter Vanessa turned 36, and we celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mommy. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, ready? Ready, set.
And then Nico turned 2 yesterday.
Okay, are you ready, Nico?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nico. Happy birthday to you. Woo! And we had a little party for him. It was really fun. For Vanessa's birthday, I had the boys help me make her a chocolate cake. Okay, what are you making?
Chocolate cake.
Why?
Because it's Mommy's birthday.
Can you say happy birthday, Mommy?
Happy birthday. No, Mommy, not me.
And since Russell hates chocolate cake so much, I mollified him by also making sugar cookies, which he's a very good help. He's really good at helping with sugar cookies. He really likes those a lot. Let's see your cookies, Russell. Oh, wow. Those are really nice, honey. You like them?
Yeah. They're the best rainbows. I know.
Those are the best rainbows. Wow.
I got Mom?
Try not to spill that water.
Okay.
I also wanted to say you can find me on Ravelry as Victoria Jean, on Instagram as Victoria Jean W. You can email me at vjwilliams54@gmail.com, and as I said before, the links will all be below. I also wanted to say that I have found a new website for some recipes that I'm really liking. It's called Cookie and Kate, and I'll link that below too. Here's a picture of one of my favorite recipes from them. This is roasted Brussels sprouts and crispy baked tofu with honey sesame glaze. It's so delicious. Another one I like is lemony broccoli, chickpea, and avocado pita sandwiches. Now, I made this, and the guys just wrapped it up in burrito shells, but I really just liked it as a salad. It's really good. I would highly recommend you put the olives in there, and I think walnuts are a good addition too. Yeah, Cookie and Kate. I would definitely recommend them for vegetarian recipes. I would check them out. I also just want to say that Black lives still matter. I know there's been a lot going on in the world recently, and it can feel really overwhelming. And I think sometimes we need to step back from social media and take a break and get our breath. But I also think it's important to continue to work on these issues. I've been doing a little bit. I think I've been trying to become more aware of what's happening and what the Black community has been having to deal with all this time. It's been really easy for someone like me to ignore. So yeah, it may feel hard for us as white people, but I think for people of color, we really have nothing to complain about, I don't think. But yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff going on. So I guess my point is just take care of yourselves. Do what you can. Change can be very painful, but sometimes change is very necessary. I really just want to thank Janet for being on my podcast. So I thank her for being a good sport and letting me record her while we were on that hike. I think it's really nice to have another voice. I think that's really helpful. So thank you, Janet. Okay.
Look at me.
Yeah, you're going to have to, let's see.
Now look at me.
I'm going to have to.
Look at me now.
You ready to get connected?
Yeah.
I bought a new connector for our microphone. Okay, all right. Russell's here.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Russell is here to help me announce the winners. I had a pattern giveaway for Rebecca Mackenzie's patterns on the last podcast.
When will it be my turn?
It's good. It's going to be your turn right now. So I picked two winners. So the first winner is Sarah of Salt Box Knits. You're our first winner. Congratulations. Just contact me and let me know which pattern you would like, and I'll get it sent to you because I know who you are on Ravelry.
And then
The next winner is
Sandy Miller. I was gonna wait for that.
okay. Just say it loudly so they can hear you.
And the next winner is what is it again?
Sandy Miller.
Sandy Miller.
Sandy Miller is our second winner. So congratulations. And I just want to remind everybody, I know Ravelry has been giving people some problems, but you know, if you go to it and you click on your picture, your little profile picture, you can drop down and there'll be a place to choose Classic Ravelry, so you don't have to mess with that. So I just want everybody to realize that. So you might try that if it's been giving you trouble. And I want to do another pattern giveaway just to promote some people. This person I want to do, well, first let's talk about Rebecca Mackenzie is going to have a shawl out, a new shawl pattern out called FRANCY shawl soon.
When will it be my turn?
Just a minute. So you might want to hold off on picking out a pattern until you see that FRANCY shawl pattern come out. She said it's coming out on Tuesday. Okay, so the next person I wanted to do a pattern, Russell, you're shaking the camera. Don't do that, okay? The next person I wanted to do a pattern giveaway for is Natalie at Detroit Knots. Now what she has is crochet patterns. So if you're a crocheter, just leave a comment below and say something about crochet, and then I'll know that you want to be in the giveaway. It's Natalie at Detroit Knits. Her name, she's a wife, mom of two awesome little girls, and you can read all about her on Ravelry. Okay, the last thing I want to do is show some purchases. I've made two purchases and I wanted to show them. Yeah, the first one is from the Cat Lady podcast and Andrea. And that is the yarn I purchased from her. You want to show it to everybody? Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
It's the Cat Lady.
Can I see?
And it's called Earthbound.
Earthbound. Yep.
But Andrea knows me well, and she sent a little extra in the package. You want to see what she sent, Russell?
Yeah. What is it?
What are those?
I don't know.
Suckers!
Yes.
She sent a sucker for you and a sucker for Nico. Is that super nice?
This one's gonna be for me.
Okay, isn't that nice of her?
Yeah.
That was really nice of her, wasn't it? Yes, I can open it. Thank you, Andrea. That was really nice. There you go. Cool, huh? Okay, the other purchase I made, Easy Knits Co. UK was doing a free shipping. I haven't even opened this one yet. So they were doing a free shipping. Yes, you can. And so I decided to take advantage of that. It was a very limited offer. Oh, isn't that nice? What do you think? Woo-wee!
Rainbow.
Oh, isn't that pretty? That's lovely. I believe it's self-striping, but don't quote me on that. I believe that's why I bought it. It is called Summer Sunset. Gobstopper plus Summer Sunset. And that's who it's from. I think that's really pretty. You like that sucker?
Yeah.
Doing good with that? All right. All right. I think that'll be it. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, everybody. Especially if you're a crocheter.
Don't forget my sucker.
Can you say bye, everybody?
Bye.
I can't thank you guys enough for watching. Happy summer.
Happy summer.
Happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
Happy whatever craft you like to do. Hope I see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
What? You can try.
Julia will run away. Just take a picture. Did you?
Mm-hmm. You eating s'mores?
Thank you.